It seems like a good video. And since it seems like there's a lot of skin worshippers and butt mad people in the chat, Richard Spencer said that Islam is also wrong. Yeah, I know. He's an atheist who thinks that morality is
Ma'am
subjective.
Donnie won't make it to 2028. Gonna go same way as CK, nuke Iran and Haiti.
Exactly. So this is why I'm going to show this video here. This is called Why This War on Islam is a War on You.
The war on Islam is a war on you. This industrial scale, billionaire funded campaign that's been running decade after decade, demonizing Muslims and Islam. It's so sophisticated. It's comprehensive, covering legacy media, all these paid personalities and politicians, providing ideological cover for what is now the most extensively documented genocidal campaign in modern history.
People don't seem to get that, and it's so clear. It's like you don't have to be Muslim to realize that that propaganda machine affects you too. Anti-Muslim propaganda justifies the endless wars that displace your demographic, that change your country, cost you billions of dollars, but people still will echo the people that are destroying you.
Years of public human sacrifice, and people brag about it, about rights of conquest. People still rooting for it. The 5 to 6 million people bombed out of their homes, a civilian death toll well over 100,000. And the target of all the propaganda is you. The 20-year failure of Afghanistan that cost $2.3 trillion. That money didn't just disappear. It went to arms dealers and mercenaries and political campaigns and contractors and construction companies. That catastrophic criminal failure in Iraq, that cost at least another $3 trillion. That intervention in Libya,
no weapons of mass destruction found,
spearheaded by Hillary Clinton, that was another $1.5 billion, turning a thriving nation into an open slave state. All that money went into making a small group of people very rich. And now another Hague-worthy bombing campaign of Iran, destroying the global economy so that this Israeli ethnic cleansing operation can continue without resistance, that's killing thousands of civilians, all for the low, low price of $50 billion to kick things off, plus another $2 billion a day. What do we think this is all for? It's not about saving Western civilization or keeping anybody safe. If we wanted that, we would have paid for universal health care for every U.S. citizen, public college for every student for a decade. 1 million toddlers could have gotten childcare. That's enough to have rebuilt every school, every road, every bridge, every hospital that's crumbled since Reagan. There would have been enough left over to feed the whole planet by now, deploying housing models everywhere, solving this migration crisis we pretend to care about. Western civilization? This is a totally imaginary idea. There is no West without East. This is a flat earth concept. Christianity itself is a Middle Eastern religion. Philosophy, math, science, astronomy.
If you call Islam a desert sand religion, Christianity is the exact same.
Medicine, all came out of Africa. All the technologies that human beings have developed have been created on a planet whose cultures all interact like water, ever changing and moving and growing and reshaping each other. There is no such thing as Judeo-Christian values that exist somehow in opposition to Islamic values. This is the same religion. And if you practice any of those religions, you're going to use the same word for God as long as you speak the same language. You'll use the same phrase for saying hello. Peace be upon you. Half the population of the whole planet practices an offshoot of one of these 3 branches of one religion of Abraham, which has one core teaching. When a stranger joins you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat the stranger as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself. There is no East versus West, except in a horror cartoon written to bring about the end of humanity, the species, and equality. So when you look at the USA or any European nation or any of its colonies, which are some of the most heavily propagandized societies on earth, but particularly the USA, when you read over all those anti-Sharia bills, which would take you days because there are now over 200 of them that have been introduced in 43 of the United States. If you read them, you know anything about this
that Richard Spencer's number one point of contention with Sharia law is that he doesn't want hijabs on women. But then he also says that there's too much decadency. There's too many women prancing around naked. So what's your solution? Just a little bit, like a half a job? You know, if you're upset about the spread of porn and OnlyFans, then chimping out because women are supposed to be covered and dressed modestly, it doesn't seem to correlate.
Planet you live on, you'll see their purpose is not to protect people from religious extremism. It has been to spread it. The man who designed this anti-Sharia campaign, David Yerushalmi, he was the senior policy research director of, yes, a neoconservative Israeli think tank. This is a guy who actively promotes the ethnic cleansing of Arabs, the deportation of...
Of course. I mean, the name David Yerushalmi, American lawyer, Dearborn missionaries. He's mad at Dearborn, Michigan. Oh, he's part of the ADL. Or the ADL accused him of being racist. His law firm. Okay, yeah.
Muslims and the vilification of Islam. He's publicly admitted the purpose isn't actually to pass laws, but to get press on the word Sharia. Not honest press. Total propaganda. The core claims of this anti-Sharia movement are that Sharia is a plot to overthrow the government. Totally ridiculous, as we will cover shortly. But meanwhile, Israeli hardliners like him do seem to control U.S. foreign policy, clearly. The anti-Sharia campaign claims that more than 80% of mosques are terror training grounds. Well, that's been thoroughly debunked by our own FBI, by a 2010 Rand Corporation study, which really looked into it and found the number of radicals among Muslims in the United States is, quote, tiny. Less than 1 in 30,000 people. Meanwhile, there appear to be churches and synagogues all over the United States openly fundraising for the violent seizure of Palestinian homes, tax deductible and subsidized by the American taxpayer. That David guy claims that Sharia courts are replacing American law. Yeah, there's not a single instance of that, but 38 states have passed laws and executive orders designed to shut down any boycotts of Israel. So it becomes really clear what this psychological operation to demonize Islam is all about, because the people of Palestine, whose families have lived on that land since the Canaanites, this is one of the most continuous populations on earth. These are peoples whose ancestors practiced all these religions, Christianity and Judaism, but because most became Muslims centuries ago, they're now being cast as monsters. Otherwise, how else could they be deprived of all their basic human rights, including the right to just exist? This could not happen without the total vilification of Islam. The entire region could not be constantly invaded, leaders overthrown, extremist dictators, monarchs, monsters installed and protected by the West. None of that could happen without the vilification of Islam.
Yep.
And where there is radicalization, every serious study points to the same root cause: U.S., European, and Israeli military intervention in Muslim-majority countries, including...
Was anyone shocked at how quickly people fell for that Iran war propaganda when the identical rhetoric was used for Iraq war and for Afghanistan? I'm like, you guys are buying this again? Again?
Occupied Palestine. So what is this Sharia that they want to outlaw? The word means the way. It refers to a person's religious practice. It's comparable to an English Christian phrase like following scripture or canon law or following the Dharma if you're a Buddhist. Dharma means path or the teaching. Sharia means the same thing, the path. But there is enormous depth in this concept because the word Sharia refers to only the first level of the path, the physical level, like the Sharia of Christmas or the way of Christmas might include decorating a tree in December, but there's a level deeper that's sometimes called the tariqah or the tariqah, the meaning of the path. You might decorate a tree, but never know the meaning. The tariqah means understanding the giving spirit of Christmas or the origin of lights on a tree, which some say represents that there's always light, even in the darkness. A deeper level still beyond Sharia, beyond tariqah, is sometimes called the haqiqah, the experience of the path, the real content, as in experiencing the generosity and spirit of Christmas, like the redemption story of Scrooge in A Christmas Carol, when he experiences that the meaning of life is not the acquisition of real estate or material things at the expense of others, because that corrupts the content of your own character, because you took the wrong path. So now that we understand the word Sharia, outlawing the way that you get married or perform funeral rites or pray to the Almighty or ask forgiveness, outlawing that, that's what they want to outlaw. So there are multiple passages in both the New Testament and the Torah that explicitly chastise any who condemn others for their path, their way of worship. In the biblical story of Jesus Christ, for example, he calls the Pharisees hypocrites 7 times in one chapter for that kind of judgmental nonsense. So why ban Sharia then, if it makes no sense, if it's anti-Judeo, anti-Christian? Because by banning the path, the outward Sharia, the state criminalizes the whole spiritual journey called Islam, the religion itself, its people. It turns it into a political movement. And if one truly understands the word Islam, which means total surrender to the Almighty, anti-Sharia law makes that illegal. So the demand is the worship of the state. So if anyone's still wondering what entity best resembles the Antichrist, that is it. And so remember that when you hear paid personalities like Sam Harris on Bill Maher's show say Islam is the motherlode of bad ideas, and watch Bill Maher agree. Or when the Tennessee rep says Muslims don't belong in American society. Or when you see that Florida rep say we need more Islamophobia, not less. And that the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. When you see that Texas rep say how many Americans need to get Allahu Akbar'd before we realize Islam is a problem. When you see that Wisconsin rep just flat out lying, saying that it's indisputable that there are radical Muslim sleeper cells here in America murdering American citizens. When we see the Alabama rep saying that Muslims are the enemy inside the gate. When we see that there's now a Sharia-Free America caucus, a congressional body with 59 members across 24 states, whose mission is to save Western civilization. Understand that this is the extremist religious movement afoot.
Unfortunately, I love my country, but America right now, currently, and it shouldn't be this way, is nothing but a tool, is nothing but a colony for Israel. It's nothing more than a little project that the Jewish supremacists use to colonize the world. That's the only purpose America currently serves, and it shouldn't be that way.
A massive, sinister social engineering campaign whose participants fully include the New York Times, CNN, every corporate media outlet that profits from permanent war and serves a ruling class who operate outside of all laws and ethics. And so when they say that the Middle East has been at war for thousands of years, understand that is a manufactured myth designed to make current events and current violence seem normal and inevitable.
Yep.
In reality, the longest periods of coexistence between the 3 branches of the religion of Abraham have historically been under Muslim governance.
Yep.
From Umar's Jerusalem to Saladin to the Ottoman community system, administrations that were guaranteeing freedom of worship, freedom of the path. The point here is not to elevate one group of people and imagine that they're different from another. Our ideologies, our ideas are as unique as each individual who practices them. And the word Islam actually means surrendering our ideas, the forms, the idols, the images in our head. Islam was originated as a reform movement within the religion and the traditions of Abraham, each of whose branches sprung from the same root, whose offshoots all aimed at the same sunlight. What the warmongers from the far, far west and their propagandists call the Middle East has not been at war for thousands of years. But their social engineering project, their psychological operation, that's as ancient as the oldest of empires. The greedy few have always set the people against each other with what the Romans called divide et impera, to divide and rule. The war on Islam is a war on you.
Divide and conquer. It's so clear. It's so clear. And actually, this is going to be effective. I wonder if this guy's Muslim. Because of his skin color, this is going to reach a lot of people that wouldn't hear it before. Oh, he's a filmmaker. He's a filmmaker. I haven't heard this guy before. Good video.